Afternoon, folks. Here we are in the Sugar Ray Nosty record room.
Thank you.
We've got a couple of special guests. Well, one special guest, because we've got Widow here as well down the end.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
He's always a special guest, isn't he?
I love that. I love I'm a special guest every week.
And Ray, who else have we got, mate?
We've got the one and only Wayne Junior Pearce.
Oh, it's great to be in great company. It's also good to be here with you guys.
Can I say something first? The Tigers won at Leichhardt.
Oh, yes.
It was huge. I watched it. You know I'm a Bunny supporter. And at one stage they went, the crowd's going wild on the Wayne Pearce Hill. And I got to say, Junior, they fucking were, mate. They were going off their head.
I never ever thought I'd get a hill named after me where they ply people with alcohol and refusing players, that sort of stuff. But, I was very deeply honoured when that was bestowed upon me.
And they were going off, mate. What did the Tigers win that night? 60 to something? 60.
Cowboys.
6,
yeah.
16, I think.
Mate, that was an amazing game of rugby league. I mean, but look, the thing for me was it was at Leichhardt and it was chock-a-block and all of the Tigers fans were there.
Well, Leichhardt's always chock-a-block, no matter who they're playing. But
Junior, haven't you got to go back to those grounds and play X amount of games there? You've got to.
Yeah, well, the atmosphere, you can't beat the atmosphere. And Leichhardt Oval, it does intimidate teams. Unfortunately, the Tigers earlier this year didn't really show what they're capable of. I mean, I went out to the first game against the Titans, and they had every chance to win that game, and they really blew it. The Titans had a player off at the end of the game, one man down. They had injured players, and they still won. But the crowd, they keep turning up, and the last 6 or 7 weeks, the Tigers have really been been going well, consistently well.
Lost by a point last weekend, played good there. But it's going back to those home grounds. Everybody should go back to those home grounds for a couple of games, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, you as a player...
Come on, you're a commissioner. You're a commissioner, Junior. Put a bit of pressure on him, Junior.
You can't beat that atmosphere as a player, and it brings out the best in players when you've got great atmosphere. There's suburban grounds. A Sunday afternoon at Leichhardt Oval on a sunny day is just amazing.
On the Wayne Pearce Hill.
Oh, yes. You get the sun in your eyes. But you put the cap on.
So what happened to Campbelltown? It doesn't have that same kind of spark.
Oh, no, Campbelltown, when you get a full house out there, that's a great atmosphere out there as well.
How many does that hold? Do you know?
It's a bit more than Leichhardt. I'm guessing around 15,000. But when you think about it, for so long, the English grounds, the English footy grounds have always been relatively small, but the soccer grounds over there aren't massive stadiums by and large, but they fill them up and they get a great atmosphere.
It's all about that, isn't it? Really?
It's about the intimacy. The players are a lot closer. The fans are a lot closer to the players.
And after the games in England, I've been to a few soccer games. It's the bluing after the game when those fans meet those fans at that pub and the big blue erupts.
I remember years ago when we were over on one of the kangaroo tours over there and Leeds, we're staying in Leeds and the fan, I can't remember which club the soccer game was on that day, and Leeds were playing someone in the soccer who was their arch enemy. And from the railway station to the ground, in the middle of the road were mounted police, keeping one lot of spectators on one side of the road, another lot of spectators on the other side of the road. So at least we haven't got to that degree or extent out here in Australia.
Fantastic, June.
Talking about rugby league, there's a really important topic I'd like to bring up, and that's Women's Beach Rugby League. Women's Beach Rugby
Very
League.
Important, Junior.
As the NRL Commissioner, are you aware of this sport, and what can you do to promote this and make it something huge?
Can I ask a question first before you answer that?
Sure.
They're playing on the beach?
Yeah. And
what are they playing in?
Well, I've got a photo of some of the girls from the Russian beach rugby team. Which I'll forward to you later for your own private stash.
So they're playing in cozies and bikinis.
Yeah. And
do they need a president? Like I can step down from Randwick Petersham Cricket Club.
They've actually got dual presidents. There's heaps of senior vice presidents, junior vice presidents.
They'd be lining it up, wouldn't they?
When you take that word out of it, junior vice president, that basically sort of gets me involved. I'm divorcing myself from this conversation.
Well, Ray and I have talked that, if the NRL need international promoters of rugby league, because my second team now is a team from the Czech Republic called the Mad Squirrels.
The Mad Squirrels.
he loves
That's their name, the Mad Squirrels. And we talked about maybe an NRL side teaming up with a country like the Czech Republic, bringing a few of their players out. And even if they're beach volley,
you need to get Troy Grant, the International Rugby League chair, on this show. He'll be able
And
to fill you in on
Junior,
that.
you're a commissioner. Come on.
Yeah, well, I'm not
we're
up to
straight to the
speed.
top.
I'm not up to speed.
On the Squirrels.
Well, I'd like to meet him. I'd like to meet him because
Yes.
After speaking to the president of the Canadian Rugby League, Josh Talatala Ala, it was very interesting how they're trying to get things really going there in Canada. So
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to get it going right around the world.
yeah.
In fact, on a serious note, beach footy is really there's a space that we're going into right around the globe, because it's an opportunity for rugby league in Australia, for example, in summer to really step up and capture an audience via the surf clubs, because a lot of surf clubs, they're sort of got.
Are you talking about male or female?
I'm talking about both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the name of that side you love?
the Mad Squirrels.
I'm a Mad Squirrels fan without even seeing them.
Oh, so the Mad Squirrels are a female side, are they?
No.
Pardon my ignorance.
That's a different. I've just taken them on because they've got a great name, and they have junior footy sides and men's and women's. But the Mad Squirrels in the Czech Republic, it's huge. Rugby league is becoming huge in the Czech Republic. So
Seriously.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I know it was.
You're G'ing up. Are you G'ing up or what?
No.
That rugby league's taken off in the Czech Republic
I'll
with
tell
the Mad Squirrels. Come on, it's a G up.
after I get home from a gig with the Oz Icons, with
I Google the Mad Squirrels.
Don't tell me you watch it on Fox Sports.
Love the caps. Love the Oz Icon caps that you've just released too, by
on
the way.
Facebook, I'll harass these blokes at night about. I watched Serbia versus Greece in Athens. There was about 5 people there, but
If
there
I
was
get a
an
text in the
international
middle of the
action.
night that the Squirrels have just scored a 4-pointer, that'll really blow
Well,
me
we've
away.
got one. It's just that you're not on.
I'm not on that
social media.
group. Yeah, that's
And I
right.
remember at the last gig with Johnny Waller, I'm showing him all about the Albanian Rugby League on their Facebook page, and they've been sponsored by Porsche and all this kind of stuff. It's I'm fascinated. by
Junior,
that,
are
so-
you across all this? Or
Well, I was on the IRL board up until Peter Volandis took over.
And what did he piss you off? Did he? He's got he's
I
pretty
sort
good
of-
at that.
No. He it was I'd done my term and Peter stepped up over there and but I know rugby league in all seriousness is actually growing quite well around the world. We're just not promoting it as well as what the rugby union do.
That's where Ray and I can.
That's where straight talk comes in, right?
We're looking for a gig. We're looking for a job that we can really push this thing. Because we did a corporate gig on the weekend for the renowned Junior Rugby League Club, and they asked me, "Geez, you'd be great doing something like that." And I don't really know them that well, except for a couple. But yeah.
Didn't Reg Gasnier play for Renown?
Yes,
and
he did,
a few
so-
others.
Jason Nightingale.
Yep.
It was a great night, actually.
I think that's where we did a sports lunch there last year.
yeah.
We did another one there. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic!
That's
you
what the
brushed
big-
me this time, did you?
No, we had to mix it up a bit because I think Witch was there last time.
Yeah, I
too.
did that one last time. That's
Yeah,
what I remember they talked
the guy
about.
who runs the club wanted a different guest list.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that's
we got
understandable.
the arse.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Junior and Widow got the arse. So who was there?
Hey,
Who was the guest? Ciro, that'd be
Ciro.
right.
He like-
Hey, fair dinkum.
he likes
Taking our cash.
Doesn't he,
He's taking
eh?
our cash,
Oh.
Junior.
Ciro had to push me out of the way.
Does he love $1, Ciro?
Yeah, does he?
It's not as bad as Jimmy Jack.
Oh, I've heard some.
Gary
I've
Jack
heard
is-
some Jimmy Jack
oh,
stories.
he
Now I've
is-
heard Blocker tell some wonderful Jimmy Jack stories about him being tight with a quid. Is that true?
Oh, it is absolutely true. Yeah, truer than true. Gary. Yeah, in fact, he'd charge me to tell the story about him.
Oh, classic. Where's that? Where's that sound?
I got a serious question, Junior. Talking about World Rugby League, do you think World Rugby League, like cricket's trying to expand? We brought in Ireland, Zimbabwe before that. Holland is pushing for test status because they want to take it around the world. There's a T20 tournament starting in America this year, quite lucrative, supported and sponsored by the Indians, but it's in America. Is Rugby League looking at that? Do you think it has to go around the world?
Without a doubt. I mean, it's a great spectator sport. It's just not really been marketed on the scale it needs to be marketed overseas. Well, we're taking a step in that direction.
The Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah. How do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, so we're doing all the logistics on that at the moment. Andrew Abdo and Peter Volandis did a reconnaissance trip, not just recently, over there to meet the key players, and it's looking very, very likely, more likely than not. In fact, we should know in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Fantastic.
Whether it's going to be a definite goer or not, and that will be 2 teams playing from the first competition. Sorry, 2 matches, which is 4 teams from the first competition round here, be played over there. And they would have a bye when the rounds are played back here, and so it would not be. It wouldn't be it would be an actual match, competition match.
Yeah. And what about televised in the States and stuff like that? Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Fox is going to get right behind it over there, Fox Sports. Lachlan Murdoch is a huge fan of rugby league and particularly the Broncos. And he's keen to support via his network over there. So I think that would be great. But when you look at rugby league and the expansion of rugby league, it's really now, in terms of the Southern Hemisphere, the Pacifica, we really own that territory now, and it's getting bigger and stronger. So the next step is really in that direction, is really the Americas.
Yep.
So
we'll see what happens.
Talking on the other side of things too, it's disappointing that the French have dropped the World Cup for the next one. So what's happening there in terms of where that's going to be held, or there's still no idea? Or?
No. So they're still exploring options, as far as I'm aware. As I said, I'm not on the NRL board at the moment, but I mean that was disappointing. But we'll just wait and see what other options present. I'm sure there'll be other options. Have to wait and see.
Because how is the game in France? Or Mitchell's over there, isn't he? So it's getting stronger. It seems to, but from what I've followed, it seems to be getting stronger.
Yeah, it's sort of slowly tracking back towards the status that it had, because it was actually a very strong sport back in the 50s.
Yeah, and they came here in the 60s, I believe, and they beat the Australian side.
Yeah,
I remember my dad talking about a fullback they had called Pure a Bear or something like that, and said he used to see him kick goals from the try line, the corner post, because we're all toe pokers then, but he kicked round the corner, which most Europeans did because of soccer background, and could kick it from where the corner post is. Over there.
Yeah, he's quite famous for the goal kicking episode. But I went over there last year and went over to watch Mitchell, a couple of games of Mitchell's, and went to the first game, Catalans. He playing for Catalans in the south of France, based in Perpignan, and they play in the English Super League and travel over there and travel back. And they had a home game, and I was sitting next to the owner of the club, and all the players were on the field, and then they played an anthem, which wasn't the French national anthem, but everybody's standing up at attention, and I'm thinking, they're playing. Anyhow, I stood up, and afterwards I sat down, and then when I sat down, I asked the owner of the club, what's that? He said, that is the Catalonia national anthem.
Oh, right.
Because they're looking to break away. Catalans have been trying to form a separate country, a separate nation for a long period of time, and so they play the Catalonia national anthem, not the French national anthem, only in Perpignan.
Yep.
In Catalonia.
You gotta love that over there. What's the problem with the rugby league, if there is one, in France? Is it sponsorship money? Is it participation? Is it?
It's sort of over in France. The rugby union's got a strong foothold through the government. It's entrenched in the history of the government supporting that code. And
the rugby league hasn't got that. No,
rugby league is quite strong in that southern part of France.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's the best part of France.
Yeah.
That's right. But on the Mediterranean, how can you beat that?
That's sort of like England with the rugby league, basically in Lancashire, isn't it?
Yorkshire, Lancashire.
Yeah, that's the stronghold up in the north, isn't it?
Yeah. So
it's always been regarded, but more rugby's more of the private school, wealthy sort of more people. The rugby league's always been regarded as the working man's game, hasn't it? And that's why it happened in the north of England.
And the reason, that's exactly, that's why it originated.
Yeah.
We were allowed to get paid because the players weren't getting paid back in 1908.
Yeah.
And the union rugby league broke away, and hence the origins. That was up until, I think, was it the 90s, rugby union players weren't allowed to get paid.
That's right. And then overnight, it was almost an overnight. No, amateur, oh, better not be amateur anymore. Professional, overnight, boom. So all the guys that retired last year are spewing.
Yeah, exactly.
They got a few dollars in their boot after the game for a drink. That's about it.
And before we started the podcast, guys, I heard you talking about was it the HIA issues? I think you were talking about cricket and what the NRL's doing.
Yeah,
with the Cricket Australia can learn from, or
I'm not sure whether we have a full-blown policy yet, but I would suspect that. We were talking about Will Bukowski. Now he's can't say he's up and coming. He's played for Australia and he's got a fine record. Only a young bloke, but he's been hit a lot. And he's on the verge, I think, now of saying, well, if he gets hit once or twice again badly, he could be really suffering for the rest of his life. And, man, he's only early 20s. And then we started talking about a case that I got in, and I won't mention any names, got asked to join over, was going to be a legal case suing for damage to the knees, which I've just had mine both replaced. But I don't think I'd ever be able to go and sue, the Australian Cricket Board when I played, because I wanted to play. I mean, even if my knees were bad and they said, oh, your knees are bad, we're not going to pick you, I'd go, bullshit, I want to play, man, I'm out there, I'm good, give me the ball. So that idea for me is a bit foreign in my melon, but they were going to run a case for this particular bowler who I knew, and it was sort of like they made him go out and play when they should have said, you need more treatment.
There's I'm chairing a subcommittee of the commission, which is player safety and a concussion committee, and basically we're looking at drafting a whole set of protocols from juniors right through to seniors as to how we can prevent proactive treatment as well as return to play assessment, return to play, and so on and so forth. And There's because there's been very little being done in the history of the game around the science. Sorry, if I should step back. If you look at the concussion issue, it's that more than 50% of the players in the NRL are actually getting knocked out making a tackle, not with high hits. So
that's just getting your head in the wrong position,
or
whatever,
right.
bad technique.
And we look at that and look at the challenges around players. It's actually the fact that when they get to the NRL level, it's too late to re-educate them because it takes hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of practice.
Are you saying to get that technique right? If they've got bad technique,
the juniors,
that's in their game now.
Yeah.
They're 20, they're playing in the NRL.
That's right. Yeah.
It's already programmed.
And that's
bad
exactly
technique.
right. Yeah. It's very hard to unprogram somebody or reprogram somebody. And so, what are the best practice options that young kids can take on board, and then strategically look at those kids coming through with much better technique and going to be in better positions to make a tackle. And the other side of the equation is continuing to enforce players that are and penalising players that are illegally making tackles.
I wonder if the Mad Squirrels have a HIA policy. if they don't, I'll send them an email or something. I'll get on their Facebook page and we'll sort it out. So
I'm sure you will, mate. I'm sure you'll take a great interest in that. Dorsey?
What about will there be a legal case?
Well,
because I know the AFL, there's a big legal case brewing down there, isn't there?
There's a couple that have started proceedings and basically terminated them because they didn't have the substance to go forward. So the big issue around concussion that a lot of people are aware of is that there's very little known around how to actually measure the brain pre and post concussion with technology. And so there's some.
So how much concussion you have? Is it light? Is it heavy?
Or what the brain frequencies look like, and how do you know when it's okay to return to play? Because at the moment there's a bit of guesswork going on based on best available information is that you have a stand down period for a mandated period, but there's technologies that we'll be trialling in the near future that are out there that are currently already being trialled in some sports that will maybe give us much more accurate diagnosis, which will be a lot safer for players. And the ideal, the gold standard will be something that a young kid can get scanned as a young kid. Their brainwave and brain pattern can be identified. They've got a passport, and if they get a knock sometime during their career, you can refer back to to what the baseline is. I mean, that's where
And I'd imagine everybody's baseline's different, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's got to be. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the real challenge around the whole issue is that there's not a lot known around concussion, around the actual CTE and all that sort of stuff.
It's pretty sad, Junior, because a lot of the fellas that I grew up who became my heroes were that Rabbitohs side between 67, 68, 69, lost against Balmain, and 70, 71. I was like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 then, really impressionable. Sats was my hero. Bobby McCarthy, Gary Stevens, Ronnie Coote, John O'Neill, Elwyn Walters, Jimmy Morgan, all these fellas. They're all gone. I saw Bobby McCarthy at a Maroubra Lions Junior Rugby League club thing that I went to on Friday. He's pretty good, Macca, still for his age. And how big is he still? His chest.
He is.
His chest is ginormous.
Yeah.
But Georgie Piggins is gone. Sats was very bad with it before he passed away. Mario Fennick's younger than me. Apparently Mario's just not really good now. It's really sad to see these heroes.
It is. And that's the research is really still plugging away, trying to identify. There's so many risk factors. It's not just a knock. It's the type of knock. It's other things such as alcohol consumption, stress levels, genetics. There's a whole lot of factors that play into the condition.
Amazing. This is why someone can get a heavy knock, I suppose, and they're straight up and they're good. And then someone can get the same knock and, mate, you're concussed and you're out for 6 weeks because of the way you're made up differently to other people and how you can absorb that.
That's exactly
knock.
right.
How many times did you actually,
did
you wake up at one stage on the deck and go, fuck, what happened then?
I remember once I got knocked out and sort of woke up on the field, but it was only briefly. And then another time, I remember playing a match. I got a heavy knock, and I played the match, and it felt like I was floating through the match. And I've spoken to other players about this sort of condition, and they say, "Yeah, I've experienced that."
What a floating sensation.
Yeah, so it's like you're looking at yourself playing, and it's quite weird, but you're sort of it's not real. I mean, it's hard to describe, and I've spoken to a neurologist about it, and they said, yeah, that's a form of the concussion. Yeah.
I sat next to Ian Roberts, who, as we would all agree, one of the toughest of all time, and I sat next to him at the Matraville Tigers luncheon last year, Junior Rugby League Club, who I played for when I was a kid, and I said to him, they were talking about it at the table, and I said, is there any games that you actually can't remember? He went, yeah. A fair few. And I went, he said, I can remember running on and that, and then got absolutely smashed and can't remember the rest of the game. I thought, far out, man. And he was as tough as they came, isn't it?
Yeah, he was, and he's still very fit too.
Really fit.
Yeah. So
looks really fit.
It doesn't surprise me though, because he used to launch himself like a missile in tackles.
First. Yeah.
Spud Carroll was saying a while ago that even when you used to shoulder charge someone when it was back in the day, or tackle someone really hard, your whole body would shake and your brain would still shake in the. Yeah, you call it body shake or something.
What about Spud and Chief Harrigan? They're some of the.
Yeah, the footage of those guys attacking
just running at each other flat out, big bodies. There's one of those ones you see, and Spud hits Chief on one. They sort of spin off in the air.
Yeah.
And then Spud gets up. I asked Spud about that shot, and he said, had no idea where I was, got up, looked around, and then saw him on the ground and just stood over him. Oh, you're the good. Just give him a gobful. And he said, I didn't know where I was.
Nah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, but this still happens when I say it still happens, there's still players launching themselves now, but you don't see as much of it because the game's so fast now. You can't get sort of as set to do that sort of stuff as often.
Could you put a percentage, do you reckon, on how much quicker it is now to when you played? Is it 20% quicker, 30, 40, 50? Are they fitter?
Yeah, there's no doubt that they're fitter because they're full time. And there's a different sort of fitness though because it's explosive. It's much more explosive now, and they've got the interchange, so on and so forth. So we were much more aerobic athletes back in the day, and that's why the players weren't as big because if you got to play 80 minutes, you can't be carrying the weight around.
No, that's right.
That the players are playing now. So it's I take my hat off to them. I love the game. It's probably 20%, probably 25% faster now than the good games were back then because you watch some of the past games and they were super quick.
Yeah.
But the average tempo, I would say, would be 25% quicker than back in the 80s. Yeah.
Wow.
But, Junior, I was going to ask you about the magic sponge. You had something to do with
the sponge.
them not using the sponge anymore. Would you like to tell us a quick story?
Younger members of the audience probably got no idea what you're talking about with the bucket and sponge, right? But in the old days, that was when me and you played wits, they used to have a bucket with a sponge in it and water. And there was none of the bottles that with all the players' names on them that they carry in a little rack, like they do now. So you don't get disinfected. You don't get sort of infected with any germs. But back in those days, there was a sponge. You come on, you suck the sponge, rinse your mouth out, spat it out, and if you were injured, magic sponge will come on. That's why it's called the magic sponge. Because if you got dazed, you rub it, wipe it on your mouth, and all of a sudden the concussion would go away. Or if you had an injury, a wound, they'd wipe it. And anyhow, I was responsible for the magic sponge basically being given the bullet because
someone died of hepatitis.
Someone got
what about on a muddy day? The magic sponge was just a bucket full of mud.
Oh, it was.
And you just say, spat it out. Yeah.
Even the young kids at junior league would want the magic sponge.
Oh, yeah. The magic sponge was magic.
Back then they did.
It was magic.
Because the players on the field...
You had a fucking broken arm. It hurled your arm. You could keep playing.
Well, their arm and then back out and make the next tackle.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I was playing in a game. I was playing for New South Wales under-18s against Queensland under-18s, and Mal Meninga was playing for Queensland. I was playing for New South Wales. It was at the SCG. It was before a test match.
You weren't opposite him, were you?
No, he was in the centres. I was playing lock.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. And
because I've done a few speaking gigs with Mal.
He's a monster.
Fuck. I just thought, imagine that running at you, flat out. He's a big man.
Yeah. It was the key was to get up on him quick before he got some momentum, and also you don't say anything that make him angry. You don't want to get him angry, right? Anyhow,
that sounds like Viv Richards. Viv walked on the field and said, "Don't say anything to Viv. Don't get him motivated." Yeah.
Anyhow, so I played the game, and just before half time, I took the ball up and got an elbow above my eye, quite a heavy elbow, and the blood started pouring out. Anyhow, went down, and the trainer came on with the magic sponge and wiped me down, and blood kept coming out. So he put some strapping around my head. That's cool. Played the rest of the game. Anyhow, about 6 weeks later, I couldn't get out of bed, had no energy. It was just lethargic. It was like it just came on me overnight. And so I went and had a blood test, and I contracted hepatitis B.
From the magic sponge?
Well, at that time, I didn't put two and two together.
Yeah.
But I had which was called serum hepatitis back then. They call it hepatitis B, and now you can get a vaccination so you don't get it. But there was no vaccination back then, so I actually was crook for pretty much 6 months.
Wow.
Lost 30% body weight. Was like went down to a scrawny rake, and then couldn't train for half the season, and it was pretty bad. And it can, in some people, lead to my specialist told me it could lead to cirrhosis of the liver and stuff like that. So luckily I didn't actually get that bad. So anyhow,
that's when you were happy you weren't a drinker, Junior.
No.
That would have really been in your favour in that case, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, looking after your liver, yeah.
But we had a very good doctor, Dr. Ron Muratori, who was a sports medicine guy. He was the doctor at the junior level at the club, and he went through asking me the risk factors for getting the virus, and he said. And it was a no, and then
he went the magic bucket.
Then he
sponge.
Then he identified the sponge. He said, and I said, yeah, come on. They sponged it down. He said, when was it? I said, it was just before half time. He said, so a lot of the players would have used it, blah blah blah, and anyhow, so he put a submission to the league that took a couple of years, but a couple of years later, the bucket and sponge was gone, and that was it. Oh, the sponge. There's the sponge.
Well, I'm going to blame
Taking a
you
photo
now.
here.
I'm going to blame you now, Junior, for the next thing that came along. And this was we didn't have the sponge in cricket, but we certainly had this thing, the magic spray, where you got hit in the fingers or somewhere, and your finger was like bent back like that, and they bought this spray out.
A painkiller spray.
Oh, yeah, well, it froze the finger. All of a sudden it was right, only for 5 minutes. By the end of that over, it was bent down. But that magic spray, just for that moment, get the magic spray on it.
Got you through the next over.
That's it, got you through an over, yeah.
Hey, Junior, what's the spray that some of the wingers and fullbacks, when they drop a ball and the trainers run out and they go,
Oh,
and they
that's the
spray
gel.
on
It's like sticky stuff.
Well, so they can catch it next
So
time?
they can say, so the ball supposedly sticks to their fingers.
So they didn't have enough of that spray on when they dropped it.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
They're blaming the spray. What's the stuff some of them I see go out, they have a big sniff of something in a bucket sometime.
I'm not aware of that.
That's phlegm.
Yeah.
Phlegm?
Yeah.
Oh, oyster. Ostrovios.
It must have been a Kilpatrick or something.
It was someone, sometimes they got a little like that, which might be, eucalyptus or coke. No.
Yeah.
Fucking, they're
Well, in
tested
the
for
old
that
days,
shit.
they used to have smelling salts, right?
Yeah.
So that was, that used to wake you up, that's for sure.
Yeah, they were on. I had them a couple of times. No wonder they give them to the boxers.
Yeah, they were that bad. I remember one time I got
Horrible things.
Yeah, no, they were that bad. I remember one time I had a head knock, and they bought the magic salt. They brought it on, and I pretended to take a sniff. I went. I pushed my head back.
I'm back. Get him back
I
on.
take a sniff. What was that, Sugar?
I don't know, just a bit of fairy floss.
It's like fairy sprinkles dust on the
Yeah.
fairy float.
Can I ask you now, what about the oranges? I remember when coaching the kids, they used to love having their oranges at half time.
Yeah.
Did first grade used to have oranges?
Yeah. We used to have the
Lemon.
No. I'm just trying to think now because that's going back a long while. That's going back.
It is, but you remember,
that's going back
and then
43 years.
But then it was found out that the oranges weren't really good for you because they dehydrate you. Would that be right?
No,
Is
they
it better to
get
have
some.
water?
They give you some. The idea was it gave you a bit of energy, but the reality was now that they have the electrolyte drinks and that's a much better option.
Yeah, none of that shit in our day, Junior, was it?
Nah, no way.
Lucky to
Another
get
one
a glass
for
of fucking water.
Another one for the kids was we used to have these shorts and they used to have the little pads, the little
Oh,
sponges.
so
on
you
the
don't
top.
get grazed.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's so you don't get grazed. Yeah.
That's going back, isn't it?
I love them. I love those
First
pads in
grade
the
used to
sun.
have
How
the
good.
sponge. Did they have them in the
we didn't
shorts?
have. We used to wear the shorts really short just instead. Right.
Hey,
What was your junior footy club, Ray? Who did you play for?
The Hawks, the North Ryde Hawks. I can tell you that.
no, I
you
coached
didn't play
the
for them.
Hawks. No, but
What
I
about
played
when we were growing up? Did you
for
play?
Morris Brothers
Brothers.
Page was, but
That was in the
what are
Catholic
they called
comp.
now? Like
Champagne.
we won't. Get into that.
Champagne
Yeah, that's it.
something.
It is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, played for the school and played that. But
Dawes, I want you on my trivia side whenever we're going to have a trivia game.
is this guy a champion?
Oh, he knows everything.
I won the Lakes Hotel trivia at Rosebery last night
Lakes Hotel trivia.
with my other half Sue and my daughter Eliza. But 2 weeks ago, I rocked up by myself and beat the team that always wins and have 8 people, and I won.
They had 8.
They had
Oh,
8.
well, you're just pointing at them.
No,
Fucking
I was
get
very
that
gracious.
into
I
yous.
was gracious and
No,
very
a chaser.
I would have been given the the finger. Get that up,
So
yes.
I said to him,
Fucking
who are you
knobheads.
playing? What kind of people are you playing? He goes, South
Just
supporters. That's not funny.
That's not funny, Dawes. It's not very funny, Dawes.
I am a Bulldog supporter. I can
Fucking,
say
that's not very funny,
My
Dawes.
junior club was the
Dawes, that's not very funny.
My junior club was the Revesby Heights Ex-Servicemen's Club, and the club president ran away with $25,000.
As they do.
Yeah,
So we had to play in the same kit for 3 seasons. Isn't it
And,
terrible?
so that's my rugby league story.
Junior, your junior club? Get it, junior?
My junior club was Balmain Police Boys.
Oh.
Yeah, Birchgrove Oval was the home ground. That was the first ever game of rugby league played down there. And
Love it. I love Birchgrove.
Yeah, no, I started playing Balmain Police Boys under 10s. Yeah, and I started playing as a 5'8".
Wow.
Yeah, and
Ball player.
what happened was I played 5'8" under 10s, under 11s, and then what happened was we got a gun 5'8" from another club, and the coach said to me, he said, Darcy, the coach said, we're going to have to move you because this guy's the gun, so we're going to have to move you to the lock. What do you reckon? So they moved me to the lock, and that was just got stuck there.
Unreal. Never knew that.
Yeah.
Did you like playing in the halves? Would have been good because you got your hand on the ball a fair bit when you were a kid.
I mean, I to be honest, which I really can't remember that far back. I could bullshit to you, but
It's the knocks.
Can you remember playing cricket at under 10s and
He can remember everything.
No.
no.
And that's
Can
when
you remember having an academy for your cricket
Yeah,
at Beecham Road, Matraville?
yeah,
I
where
remember it.
the Heffron Centre is now, which is South's home now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. It's
South of there, I
great facility.
went and had a look about 2 weeks ago. I went to the captain's run. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's a great facility.
Because that's a very historical place for me. It used to be, when Ray and I were growing up in Matraville, it was a hostel for the 10-pound Poms. Prior to that, after the Second World War, it was an army stores, and they had these huge half-round buildings on there. They had a lot.
Yeah.
They had a lot there. And the Mike Whitney School of Cricket was there for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So I was telling Ray this story the other day.
Is this after you finished playing?
No, while I was playing.
While I was playing. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yep. From about 85 till about 92 or 3, something like that. What's that, 8 years? Anyway, I got the cricket school going and playing first grade. I was playing for Australia and New South Wales, but first grade at Randwick. And there was this kid in our first grade side who was a really wonderful batsman, really good player, and he's doing a degree and he needed to do some coaching hours to do his degree. So he said, could I come and work at your cricket school? Like, I'll do it for nothing. And I went, oh, no, mate, don't do that. And I'll pay you. And my mum was helping me with the cricket school. So I got back into the Australian team and I said, mate, can you run the cricket school for me while I'm away with the Australian cricket? And he went, no dramas. And we got another coach in there. And then he ended up playing a lot of first grade, really, really good, did his degree, got into sport, ended up running the Bulldogs, ended up running the NRL, and now he's the general manager of the Australian Cricket Association.
Oh, Todd.
Todd Greenberg.
Yeah, right.
Todd Greenberg.
Oh, so you got him to run your
cricket school. Cricket's his first love.
Yeah, I knew
really.
that. Yeah, I knew
so
that.
Anybody says, do you know Todd Greenberg? I go, taught him everything he knows at the Mike Whitney School of Cricket. And when I see him, I tell everybody, Mike Whitney School of Cricket taught him every fucking thing he knows.
He came to the Oatley Hotel, wasn't he? He was there.
He was.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Him and Lisa?
Yep.
Him and Lisa.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I'm still very good friends with Todd. And in fact, when he finished at the NRL, the Australian Cricket Association rang me up straight away. That's like our union, our players thing. And they said, you know Todd Greenberg, don't you? I went, really well. Taught him everything he knows at the Mike Whitney School of Cricket.
Is he going to be running the cricket though?
3 years.
But is he going to be running the cricket?
What, the Australian Cricket Board?
Yeah.
Well, this is the ACA, the Australian Cricket Association.
But
Will he move across to
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Will he move across to the enemy? Is that what you're saying?
No, they're not the enemy. They're the complementary sport to us. They're the summer sport. Yes.
Nice words.
Yes. I
No, you didn't get what I mean. You don't understand what I mean. We've got the Australian, or Cricket Australia here, and all the players' negotiations are done by the Australian Cricketers Association. That's our union.
Yeah.
Todd runs the union.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
So are we saying, is he going to move over to the enemy and run Australian cricket?
Okay.
They're the ones we fight with all the time for more money and more players.
Yeah, I know. They're similar in the rugby
So at
league.
the moment, he's the opposition. Could he run? Yes, he could run the Australian Cricket Board. He could run Cricket Australia easily as the general manager.
Yeah, given that he's passionate about the cricket.
Cricket's his first love, and he was a fine first grade player.
Middle order, was he, or opener?
Yeah, top order batsman.
Top order.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5 in there anywhere, and was a really elegant stroke maker, Todd.
Yeah.
Really elegant. And loves his cricket. Loves his rugby league as well.
Yeah.
Tina Turner.
Junior.
It's a big topic. And
Now, Junior, I want to ask, when you got the budgie smugglers on, did you get a bit of blood in it when Tina walked in?
I don't know, but I'm getting a bit of blood in mine at the moment.
Did you get a little bit of blood in it, mate?
What do you mean there, Wits?
Yeah, what are you saying?
Did you have to just put him in the? Am I dressing to the right or the left?
What about the Spanish
I was dressing to the left. Now I'm dressing to the right. Tina's just walked in.
Did you need a cold spoon?
Yeah, whack that.
That's it.
That was,
Whack it on the.
It was actually a really interesting period in terms of rugby league and the marketing. It was people think that Simply the Best was the campaign that Tina was involved with the whole time. No, it wasn't, because before Simply the Best, the actual first campaign was a campaign, what you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get. That was a great one too.
Yeah. So that was the first campaign, and that came about because Brian Walsh, who was actually managing myself and Andrew Eddinghausen, were the first two players to have a player manager in the game, rugby league, and Walshy negotiated some endorsements for us. He had the contract also doing marketing for the rugby league, and he put a proposal to John Quayle that because Roger Davies, he knew Roger Davies, who was Tina Turner's manager, and put a proposal to John Quayle to get Tina involved in the game, and it was a fantastic initiative, and that started with the what you see is what you get, and then it morphed into when she brought out Simply the Best, then Simply the Best campaign, which won worldwide acclaim as a sports marketing campaign. But she was a really humble and down-to-earth person, considering her stature on a global scale.
Absolutely.
As a rock star. And I actually went and saw the premiere of the musical just recently.
Yep.
And I had no idea of the hardship that she endured as a child, being brought up by her grandparents and the domestic violence. I knew that, but I didn't know.
I don't think Ike wasn't the nicest husband, was he? Ike Turner.
But he was very clever.
Yeah, he's clever muso. Yeah.
And anyhow, I didn't know that at the time, but she just came across as really humble, down to earth, and we did two scenes actually. I was involved in two scenes, I should say. There was a scene which was the beach shot with the speedos and stuff like that. That was down at Wanda Beach. We filmed that, and then we did another one in a nightclub in the city, and it was like a sort of a TV commercial, and that was pretty cool. That was Simply the Best one, and I remember I had to dance with her on the dance floor and I remember saying to me,
look at him smiling, just thinking about it. Look, there's a big smile come across your melon there.
So they're playing the Simply the Best song, and we did a number of takes, and she said, "Come on, boy, loosen up, will you?" And I've taken that on board, because now, as you know, when I'm
we
loosen up, yeah.
And you're still in your budgie spot.
No, hardly.
Well, hang on, let's put all this in context. You did an ad. You danced and ran along the beach with fucking Tina Turner, who at that time was huge, but only got bigger and bigger and bigger as the years went on. She became one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah,
Can you believe you did that?
I can't really believe it. No, but looking back on it now, when she passed away, I had a seminar. I was running a seminar for a company that day, so I had my phone switched off on to voicemail. And at the end of the day, there would have been 30 messages from different people, and 20 of them had sent the photo, attached the photo of the running on the beach in the Speedos.
In the smugglers.
By the way, they were pink Pride Speedos back in that. They were pink Speedos.
Ahead of your time, bro.
Yeah, I was actually. And then,
did they come from wardrobe, or did you have them?
No, I think I had them actually. Yeah.
So you could have pink shit in those days. It was all right.
Anyhow, but it was a great time, really good time, and. Yeah, so the whole lot of the memorabilia sort of was floating around. It was,
it changed. It did. It did exactly what the rugby league wanted it to do.
It was phenomenal.
Changed.
It
was amazing. Does anybody know, Junior, what sort of dollars she got paid for doing those campaigns?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it probably wasn't enough, because it was, as you say, it was phenomenal marketing. And
she bought a house in California.
Yeah, the irony was that Brian Walsh, the person who who put the idea to John Quayle, who knew Roger Davies, who basically drove that campaign.
Yeah.
He actually passed away about 6 weeks before Tina, and he was still young. He was only, I say young, he was only 68.
Yep.
And he died suddenly as well. So it was quite ironic that both of them passed away in that relatively short period of time.
At that time, Junior, were you aware of what she'd done previously in her music career? Did you know much about her?
Well, I pretty much knew Nutbush City Limits, like everybody did my age, knew that, and because that was an anthem around the world. I didn't appreciate the extent to which she impacted people around the globe at the time, but in subsequent years I certainly did, and well before she passed away.
A bit of trivia. Do you know that the dance to Nutbush City Limits was created here in Australia?
Yes.
No, I didn't know that. Tell us about that, Sugar.
I really don't know about it. But
How weird is that? Because we'd be at the Searles Club or something like that. Dun, 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 and it'd come on.
Yeah.
Every chick would run onto the dance floor, get in a couple of lines and do this Nutbush
Yeah, that's
thing.
right. Yeah,
I thought,
I didn't know it originated here,
fucking
though.
American shit, you know? No, it originated here. Who the fuck makes that up?
Australians are like the shuffle. Everybody shuffling. We've just got all the moves, mate. You know,
Crazy.
you have.
Yeah,
That's where you got the moves.
no,
You got the moves from Tina. Jeez,
Oh, what a
about
great
those
thing to have on your
dresses?
CV. Oh, what about the dresses? What about when she did If You Could Turn Back Time on the, wasn't it the USS Arizona or something with all the sailors?
Oh, yes. No, that was Cher, wasn't
That
it?
was Cher,
Oh,
wasn't it?
sure, there you
Yeah,
go.
but hey, same thing.
Was it sure?
That was sure. I'm looking at
For
you
our
with
com-
thinking,
For our
Jeez,
commercial.
I might have got hit too many times in the head playing cricket, Junior.
Commercial break.
Commercial break. And we're going to try him out too. Let's try him.
Oh, mate. Now, listen. Have you ever had... Look, you can get Imperial Mandarins,
I love him.
but you can't get Sweeties.
Well, that's it. This is yeah.
And you can just peel them so quickly.
gonna- yeah.
Just while I'm taking a couple of breaths here, it's
right.
peeled and go on, Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta. What do you really taste? What does it taste like?
Oh, man. Come on.
What's that like?
They're very
Sunshine
nice.
in my mouth.
Mm.
It's like sunshine in my mouth. It's like Cher on that boat.
I love Imperials.
Talking of music, sorry to get away from the commercial. I know it was good, a good commercial.
Sweeties, Imperial Mandarins.
One more time.
Sweeties, Imperial Mandarins. Or are they mandarins?
Yeah, talking of music, and both you blokes were all in the Oz Icons together. But how back in the Big Hitters days? How did Ray and you, Junior? How did it all happen? How did that start?
The Big Hitters or Tina Turner? Us doing a Tina Turner song?
And Cher on that boat.
Yeah, both of them together.
No, the early days of.
Well, the
Big
early
Hitters.
days was Junior found out that I used to play in bands, and I hadn't been playing for a while. I took a break.
So before that, we go back before that, Sugar, because
Please.
what happened was when I never played a musical instrument. My dad was a drummer in a band. He died when I was 14. He was a drummer in a band. My mum played the bagpipe. She was Scottish heritage, and my grandmother, she died at age 98. Up until the age of 95, she was playing the piano. She always played piano. So I had a bit of music in my family, but I went down the sports path and never really sort of picked up an instrument. And then
Did your brothers play any instruments?
No, they didn't. No. So what happened was they played footy as well. We all signed up, and the reason we signed up when I started playing was because Tigers won the comp in 1969, and the three of us kids, we signed up the next season to
Thanks,
play.
Junior.
Yeah, so they beat South.
All right, thanks,
Yeah.
Junior. I mentioned it earlier,
I
but
know
he just
you did.
wants to stick the knife in again.
Exactly.
I cried all the way home from the Paddington Hill to Matraville.
Yeah, not as much as I cried after the 89 grand final, I can tell you now.
Oh,
Yeah, so,
I won't mention
And me,
that.
and after the 88.
yes, and 88 as well.
Won't mention 89.
No.
Go the Dogs.
So anyhow,
Terry Lamb, let's
Sorry,
not get
I had
into
to get
it.
him in there.
come on, doors.
Isn't that the game
I'm
where
a
Terry
Bankstown
Lamb
boy,
flattened
yeah.
what's his name from England?
Yeah, Ellery Hanley.
Ellery
Hanley
Hanley.
got taken out.
Big time.
What a player. But
Yeah.
What about Ciro talking about that at the show? He wasn't. Yeah. Anyway, that's a different. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, but yeah.
So what happened was my daughter actually, Tatum, my oldest daughter, she was about 10 years of age and she took up keyboard. So I had to go to the music store to buy a keyboard for her, and went along with my wife there to the music store with my daughter. And I'm looking at the guitars while she's looking at the keyboard, and the guy who was serving me sort of said, "Are you interested in Wayne Pearce, aren't you?" I said, yeah. He said,
Discount.
He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, just looking at the guitars. You thinking of playing one?" I thought, maybe. He said, "Well, if you play one, if you decide to play, you've got to buy a decent one." And because then if you
Good salesman.
Yes, exactly. If you fork out some money for a decent one.
That's so true, isn't it?
Yeah,
you get a
that's
really
what he
good
said.
one.
Yeah. So anyhow, I ended up. He talked me into buying a decent one, and that's the one Sugar Ray Noston's now got.
I love that Maiden, and Dawsey was playing it today.
Great guitar. It's a great guitar.
Did you buy a Maiden first up? A Maiden?
Yeah. Well, that's what he talked me into getting a decent one. So anyhow, then he said, but I'll give you some lessons. So he sort of came around and he gave me lessons for a few months and picked it up that way. And then at the same time, Mitchell's playing for North Ryde Hawks. So I'm learning the guitar and having a bit of fun learning a bit of guitar, and then so Ray can take up the.
Well, the great story is the boys had gone away on a trip, and we'd gone up to the Central Coast.
Because that your young fella Todd was
Todd,
playing,
Todd was playing with Mitchell and a few other. Had a really great side that year.
Curtly Beale was in that side too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Curtly, yeah.
And Lawson's son, Mark Lawson,
yeah, Jake.
first grade, Jake Lawson, great side. And Junior said, "I heard you play in bands." I go, "Oh yeah, I don't play anymore." And he goes, "Oh, listen, bring your guitar when we go away to the caravan, and we'll have a jam." Well, this bloke turns up with a folder like yay thick. It was just that thick, and he'd handwritten every song with the chords above it. And mate,
It was that bloke.
you were unbelievable. Sorry.
Anyhow, that was me practicing songs at home.
It was unbelievable. And then he's made me a copy. And it went from there, didn't it? And everyone came in the caravan.
So what happened was then the team, the
I'm
Hawks
suffering
team,
from head knocks.
The Hawks team was amazing side that year, and they went through, I think, undefeated, won the competition. And because the Hawks had, I think, 5 teams in the grand final, Ray came up with a great idea. Rather than just do some night where you give out a few trophies, and because we'll win a few of the comps, why don't we get a band together for the night? Is that correct? My memory
That is spot on, mate. But that was your
so
idea.
was that Ryde Bowling Club? I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, you and Sue came up with that idea, mate. Sue organised it. My wife Susan, and Junior came up with the idea, and he said, "Ray, you know a few blokes in the club. Let's get a band. And it was called the Squawks."
Yeah, the Squawks. The Squawks. That's right. We had the Squawks, and then we performed that night, and then somebody heard about it, and so the next thing we did, we did one on the Footy Show, but we changed our name to the Big Hitters.
Yep.
Okay.
Hitters.
And then we did the show. We did.
We got a manager, the great
Dale, wasn't it?
Dale Walker,
Texas. Dale, Texas Walker.
Dale, Texas
Go
Walker.
on. Yep.
Yeah, and then so we went on the Footy Show, and I'm thinking, was it US Forces we did on the Footy Show,
The first one.
or Yesterday's Hero? One of them.
No, I think it was Yesterday's Hero because Paul Landmack was on the show then.
That's right.
And you had him walking behind. But I can remember the producer of the show going, Junior, relax, because you were getting so excited, jumping and doing cartwheels in the air that you couldn't get into the pit. They couldn't get you into the thing. But go on.
Anyhow, we did the gig on that, and then what happened was we ended up getting some people. One for some strange reason they wanted to book us to do a couple of pubs here and there,
and corporates too. A lot of corporates.
Yeah. So we started doing some, and that was the launch of the career, and I ended up having some singing lessons, which was way back with Mark Williams.
Yep.
Show No Mercy.
Oh, yeah, great singer.
Yeah,
Great
and that
singer.
was
Great
pretty
singer.
cool.
And now
Yeah.
with Dragon,
Yeah, we're really, really good, and then sort of went from there.
Is that 20 years ago? Be
That
close.
was, I think it was maybe 2002, was it?
At the end of 2001 and our
2001,
So there you
was
go.
it?
It's over
we
20
did,
years
yeah,
ago.
Yeah.
Over
time
20
ago.
years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
At the Ride Bowling Club, which is no longer around, but it was great. Look, the people who actually went there, a lot of the senior side, they couldn't believe it. And everyone was really getting into it. It wasn't just a matter of because we had a pretty good band, didn't we? And we had
Well, mate,
Sharon Foran on vocals.
That's right, Sharon Foran, which is Kieran Foran's
Mother.
mum,
Yeah.
who was on. She was on backing vocals. So it was pretty cool. And then, but the flavour of the band always was, let's have some fun.
Party band.
If we're having some fun, the audience is going to have some fun, and I mean that's still pretty much what we do, which isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
And now that we've turned into the Oz Icons, have a look at Ray's hat. We've got some new hats here.
Oh, I love the logo.
Yeah, it looks great, doesn't
It
it?
is a good logo.
That was Ray's idea,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it's all over the
design.
place, but just like you, Ray.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
It's
not
good.
Great.
I'm a bit up and down all the time, and I'm not really straight, am I? But
And there's a beanie on its way for Ray.
Actually, it
too.
looks like musical. The music.
well, I did that purposely
Yeah,
because of that.
fantastic.
I'm glad you've picked that up.
Yes.
But,
Yes, I'm-
Yeah.
And we've got a gig coming up on the 24th of June at the Bayview with you two blokes. And
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. It's only a couple of weeks.
Only a couple.
not-
How long since we've had a gig together?
Mate, it's
Long
been
time.
too long.
Been a
Nearly
long
12
time.
months. Because you had your knee done last July.
Yeah, it would be.
Knees.
Yeah, it'd be 12 months since we've done a gig together.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, no, Pendle Hill. Wasn't it Pendle?
Oh, yes,
That
that
you
was
did-
back in March.
But
Oh.
have you heard the news, Junior?
Yeah.
This man over here, Andrew Dawson, has been busy on our Facebook site. Tell him the numbers, mate. He's got some numbers for you.
Talking of Tina Turner, and when she passed away, I put up a video of her singing Simply the Best with Jimmy Barnes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's gone viral worldwide, and it's had 180,000 likes,
Serious?
4 million views, because all these people are responding from around the world, not knowing who Jimmy Barnes is. And I've also put up the What You Get Is What You See video, the NRL, and that's
Yeah.
gone viral.
This one.
And so all these people around the world are seeing rugby league and Tina Turner and not knowing that ever happened.
How good's that?
And our Facebook followers have jumped from 5,000 to 10,000 in a week, and it's just going up and up through the roof.
Gee,
So,
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you
yeah,
very much,
absolutely.
Tina.
Yeah,
no,
well,
it's-
that's awesome.
But as you said, like
They better get to the Bayview early on. What date is it again? 24th. Oh, they got to go up the doors.
Don't laugh about that because he's kept the Wayne Pearce and the Big Hitters and the Mike Whitney band alive. The
pages are
page
still
book.
going. The
And,
Facebook pages.
and I'm just getting every day. They're getting more.
That means we're finished, doors. I
don't wanna go, I
don't want to go.
Well, if there's something else you want to talk about,
No, I'm done.
I think we're having a barbecue next summer.
Yeah,
I
we
believe.
are. It's almost 5:30 when we have to follow the schedule, the Ray Nosty schedule, because you'll be going to singing lessons to catch up,
Catch her tonight, yes, as usual.
and we'll be there after you.
Yes,
the three of us.
Oh, three tonight.
Three-part harmony.
Three-part
Yeah,
harmony. So, Junior, thanks. How about a big round of applause for Junior?
Oh, thanks, Wits, Sugar and Dorsey.
Good to see
My
you, mate.
pleasure. Keep up the
Thanks,
great work.
brother. Good to see you, mate.
All right, see you guys over and out until
Thanks,
next time.
Andrew.